Hi guys, welcome back to my channel. This is Let Us Talk with CMJ. To all my returning subscribers and viewers, you're welcome. In case you're new here, this is the right place to be. On Let Us Talk, we talk about faith, family, lifestyle, motherhood, and everything interesting. And on today's episode, as you can tell from the topic, is something really important, something that I know that a lot of people might stumble on and need: how to deal with getting pregnant before marriage. Yeah, that's what we're talking about. And I'm not going to be doing this topic alone. As a matter of fact, I'm not doing this topic at all. I have with me someone who is going to be speaking to us, not just, from the place of the Holy Spirit ministering through him, but also from place of experience, because he went through it and we are all seeing him today, beautiful family. So really, he's going to be talking to us about how to deal with this kind of situation. And so welcome with me, Obenga.
Thank you.
You're welcome
very
to my
much,
show,
MJ.
to my channel, to my YouTube.
Yeah.
You're welcome.
Thank you.
It's so beautiful to have you here. I know how strenuous it must have been for you to come down here. So it's such a pleasure to have you. Thank you so much for coming.
You're welcome.
Yeah, so how are you?
Yeah, very well. I'm fine, as you can see. Always fine.
Don't just be deceived by his face. It's a lie. Apparently, he's my music director in my church choir. This is the music director of my church choir. Yeah, just so you know. And he's also a husband to one wife and a father of two beautiful children.
Yeah.
So without further ado, let's just jump right into the video. I'm sure you know why I called you for this topic.
Yes.
Yeah. I know that from the place of experience, you must have been able to gain a lot of lessons that will be so useful to anybody that might be in the situation that you were many years ago.
Yes.
And so that's how I'd like you to talk about it.
No problem.
So, especially for believers, I'm sure that no one plans for such to happen. No one plans to just get pregnant before wedding. But it doesn't always happen like that for some people. And you were one of those that didn't have it the way you probably expected.
Yeah.
So how did you navigate through that phase? Not forgetting that your father was a minister in the church. Not forgetting that you yourself, you were and still are a minister of the gospel. So you must have been in a very tight, depressing position. I don't even want to imagine really. So let's just jump right into it. So it's been how many years now?
Yes, 6 years.
It's been 6 years that it happened.
6 years.
Oh, so a quick question before we go right into it.
Yeah.
Did you get married to your wife because you guys got pregnant, or she was somebody you wanted to get married to?
Yeah, we were courting.
Okay, you were courting. So marriage was in view.
Yes, we were planning to get married.
Yeah, and the reason I'm asking is because I noticed that some persons they get pregnant for who they did not plan to get married to. A mistake happens with somebody, maybe just a friend, or you don't even just plan to marry the person, but because there is pregnancy, they go ahead to get married to the person. And I think that can be very dangerous. So that's why I decided to ask if that was your case. So, all right, so let's just jump right into it. 6 years ago,
yes,
what you did not expect happened to you. How did you respond to it, and how did you deal with it?
Wow. Well, to God be the glory. It wasn't an easy task. So I was on a journey, and it happened. So the first thing that came to my mind was, no, it wasn't the first thing that came to my mind. The devil came to mind, God came to mind. So they were combating. But I took my time to build on the ego that or die and I die. Because
Oh my goodness.
I didn't want to cover up for something I can still manage. It's not as if I have a gun to my head. No. If I had done the otherwise, we had opportunity of aborting because I was far away from home.
That's also something really profound. Where did that strength come from to keep it? Why didn't you think of abortion? Like I said, I had to make that clear that you were a child of a minister.
Yes.
You yourself, you were a brand on your own.
Yes.
Obenga is a name. So why didn't you think of why didn't you do it? Why?
Yes, I didn't do it because God didn't want it. I'm not saying this because it is easy for me to talk about it now.
Okay.
But then what I did was, it happened, we confirmed that we were pregnant, and this was a lady, or this is a lady I wanted to get married to.
Married to.
So we still had a lot of cover up.
Hmm.
Nobody knew about it. So we still had the opportunity of manipulating.
Hmm.
But I had my conscience, she had her conscience.
Hmm.
In fact, as I then, she was more spiritually inclined than me then.
Hmm.
I think now we are now pursuing ourselves.
Hmm.
But everything that came to me, at some point, we were just like, okay, just calm down. Pregnancy is pregnancy, baby. Now, all this thing I'm telling you, I was making her feel as if I'm very strong.
But deep down, you were shaking
No.
like this.
I was
Oh
praying. I was
God.
praying that God will abort it by
Oh my
himself.
goodness.
But thank God we didn't lose the baby.
Hmm.
I wouldn't have been this confident, because
Hmm.
I would still just act as if nothing
Hmm.
happened. Everybody would just
Hmm.
be fine.
But it's something you'll be dealing with
Yes,
inside that you
yes.
aborted.
Yeah, so, and just imagine I'm coming out now to now say I actually impregnated somebody who lost the baby after covering up with a white wedding and all. Come on. So what happened was that I had families different from my blood shared
Blood.
family.
Okay. Hmm.
So I had friends, I
Hmm.
had my siblings,
Hmm.
I had the Holy Spirit involved. So all this thing I'm saying, and I had a friend, because it was during my service here. Femi was our papa, and I was the music director. But luckily,
That thing music director has always been hanging over
around
your
me,
head.
yeah. So Femi was my flatmate. But like, what are we going to do? So Femi was just like, just keep calm. But Femi was attending to my wife, my then fiancée, was attending more to my wife. But it wasn't as if we wanted to have this thing. Something came up. I had an accident. I needed help. There is a place of the Holy Spirit. There is a place putting your discipline in check. I didn't have a reason to do it. It wasn't an excuse for me. No, it wasn't an excuse. I've thought of some things we did in the past that we're not like, I shouldn't have done it. If we didn't do it then, it wouldn't kill us. So I think then I gave the advantage to my weakness, to my I allowed my flesh to take the advantage. So, but when it happened, the first thing I did was I called the man of God I respect so much. I still to date.
Wow.
So I called him. To think that he wasn't married then. The age gap is much, but he wasn't married then. So because I needed to take a step.
I'm sorry to cut you. I'll let you proceed, but this just dropped in my mind that there's this statement that I've heard many times that sin thrives in place of secrecy.
Yes.
So when you cover up something, you are giving it wings, like you are literally making it worse.
Yes.
So that you said the first person you thought of calling was a man of God.
Yes.
I think that was beautiful. At that point, even if you wanted to do the abortion, I'm sure the fact that you just got vulnerable with somebody that you know was a man of God and would never allow such. So you would have dreaded on a safe path because of good counsel.
You're right. Because I needed to play safe. I needed to survive. I needed something that would give me confidence. You know, there was this ego of Albenga. So now imagine, now I can go to the altar and minister freely and fine. But just imagine that the secrecy is there. It will be very hard to come over secrecy than what I came over in just few minutes. So I called him and I was like, sir, I don't get beleo. And it was like, come on.
Oh my goodness.
What do you mean, sir? Because he's aware that I have a fiancé. But throughout the process, he has been helping. He has been helping. So I said, we are expecting a baby. He said, come, are you serious? I said, yes, I am. But thank God for him. He was very calm. He was very calm. I don't know if I should mention his name, but he was very calm. And I said, okay, Gbenga, relax. This is it. Don't call your pastor. Yet. Don't call your pastor.
Okay, don't mention his name.
Yes. He said, don't call your pastor yet. He said, the issue is not about your pastor. The issue is about your family first.
Mm.
My dad was a minister and still a minister.
Mm.
He is a top ranked minister.
Mm.
I'm not talking about position,
Mm.
ministerially.
Mm.
So he said, let us look for a way to get information to
To
your
him
family.
first.
Yeah. You know, I respect my father so much. I love him so much.
Mm.
Hey, Babaladra. So
Wow.
what I did was I called my elder brother.
Mm.
And at this point, my sister-in-law was already aware too.
Mm.
So everybody was playing safe.
Mm.
So we're looking at the closest set of people.
Mm.
So she called her elder sister, her twin
You
brother. I
you
called
called
my
your elder
elder brother.
brother.
I said, okay, Egmo, now this is what we have now.
Mm.
I don't care. But then I was already prepared for chastisement. I was
Mm.
expecting a
Mm.
lot of English that would bomb
Mm.
my head and all. So I said, sir, I need to get this information to daddy.
Mm.
I don't want him to be disappointed because I've gotten to a level in my life where the man has become so proud of me,
Mm.
academic wise.
Mm.
And okay, so what we did was let us talk to the most our our auntie that we're more comfortable with.
Mm.
So we reached out to our auntie. So we called Auntie Bosse. Auntie Bosse called her elder brother. So we said no problem. So we had a meeting, a phone meeting. What do we do?
Mm.
Daddy is the one we want to talk to.
Mm.
Daddy is the big fish here.
Mm.
Daddy is popular in his own space.
Mm.
Daddy has confidence. Daddy has, he's a minister. He's an ancient born again man. So you know how this thing flies with people.
Yeah.
If he had to handle a lot of this, and so we reached out to Uncle Shegun, who is also a pastor, and we had to reach out to the pastor in charge of where my daddy worships. So we spoke on phone. The man called me and said, Gbenga, you formed with this, Gbenga, you formed. But he was not chastising me to make me feel bad. He was expressing his love for me and telling me, Gbenga, you shouldn't have. So that's a lesson I've learned too. When people fall, let them realize they are falling, but let them realize they can rise higher than the level they were. That was what I saw. The circle I was in was the best. I didn't know I had that kind of circle.
You had a strong support.
I had a strong support. I had my friend in Ibadan. I had a lot. They were just like, guy, calm down. Everybody was only saying calm down. So at some point, I didn't even bother. I was like, the shame will come. I invested in the shame, so I should face it. So the pastor that my dad's pastor and my uncle had a meeting. I was like, okay, don't worry. He's going to travel down to my daddy's house, and my daddy's pastor will meet, because my dad is also a member of the pastorate. And they were mature. They were the mature people we have. They are spiritually mature that can convey the information to my dad. While this was happening, it was also happening in my in-laws.
Yeah.
So as they told my dad. So my dad didn't call me for some days, about 3 days or thereabout. But I was told that okay, they have told Dad.
And you too didn't call.
Yes. I didn't call. No, I didn't call at all. I didn't call. No, because I owe him a lot. This is a man that he had nurtured us with it. If I knew anything about devotion, it was my dad. You can't be so busy not to have devotion. No. It will make you feel like he won't tell you, but you feel like you go to heaven if you don't have devotion.
So how did he eventually reached out?
I called him after some time, like, okay, he's aware of it. I called my other brother. What was his reaction? Said it was just calm. The most shocking thing that happened with the call was, Bengulo, how are you? Said, fine, sir. Then he said something. Don't try abortion. Don't ever. You are formed. You are aware of that. We are aware of it. Don't try it. Because he realized that I'm a man. I have nothing to show. But I have a woman that has a lot to show. So if she's not talking, this is a virtuous lady. A lot of people respected her. Like the respect was at top gear. So she has a lot to. So we have to. He told me to focus my attention on the woman, give her the encouragement she needed. I know, but don't forget, my ministry was at stake. Everything happening is still within the family.
Mm.
So it now took my father's approval for me to go to my pastor to now tell him. But then I already got the backing from my family. Don't forget, I didn't go to my pastor, not because I can't go to my pastor. Everything still boils down to my family.
That's a huge point there. So you had to deal with it with your
Yeah, my
family
family
first, because
first. Yeah.
obviously they come 1st. They come 1st, and after that, then they add your backing, and then
Yes.
you went to your pastor.
Yes, yes.
So when you went to your pastor, what was the reaction from the church? And
Well, then I had stopped a lot of things. I had approved a lot of ministrations. So
you had approved
a lot of invites
before then.
before the whole stuff. So so what I had to do was I didn't attend. So all I needed to do
What
was
were you telling the people?
I had to apologize. I'm sorry, I won't be able to.
I'm
make
sorry
it.
to cut you again. As much as I was, the crux of this conversation is that we come to a point where we begin to list and tell people, okay, this is what you did. But I feel like everyone paying attention now can even start bringing out points. How that you by yourself, I mean, those people that invited you did not know what was going on at that time.
Yes, maybe they'll be hearing it for the first time.
So it was okay and easy for you to still go for your ministrations.
Very
but
well.
by yourself, you had to like suspend yourself in a way.
Myself, yeah.
And I think there was a time I'd done a video, I can't remember on what it was exactly, but I was talking to ministers, people that minister in church, and I was saying, if you are dealing with a particular sin, or you are dealing with a particular addiction, I think I was talking about addiction, and you have a service that you do in church, it's okay to withdraw from it, and deal with it, because it's more dangerous that you are dealing with something like that, and you are handling a sacred assignment, and because of how the gift of God is without repentance, so you might be doing what you are doing and everything is still going on well, lives are still getting blessed, and because of the results coming out, you don't even remember that there's something wrong, or there's something dirty that you need to deal with. So coming to that point where you suspend yourself even when nobody knows anything, that's a big step, and I think it's a lesson we all should take.
So and to think that I wasn't really working then. So
that was like the source of,
I tell you,
like
honorarium.
So you were just apologizing.
I'm sorry, I can't make it for
some
reasons. And that time was my peak too. I had a lot of invites.
All right. So what was the reaction of the church?
All right.
Because that's also a very important. I don't know, families listening to this, maybe you have people in your family that are going through this currently. I think it's really important that we give them that support. Yes, it is wrong, it's disheartening, it's disappointing, but at the same time, don't forget that they are humans. It's something that just happened, they didn't plan for, and they have a lot to deal with, to emotionally, mentally, and all that, because it just happened. So that support is very important. And the one we're about to get into right now, the church, and the reaction of the church, I think is also very important, because you get chest. That kind of thing happen, you go church, go report yourself. That's a lot of courage, man. Because naturally, religiously speaking, we know the expected reaction from the church. Oh my God, a brother in the church, and you did this, cast him and give him to the enemy. So what was the reaction of the church?
All right, so when I told my pastor, I was like, okay, you know what this means? I said yes. He said no problem. He prayed with me. He said, don't worry, relax. Like, it was not happening as if God had warned them that don't yell at this boy. But that was it for me. It now gave me a go against the devil. I shut him up every time I wanted to. So he told me when that, you can't minister. I said, I'm aware of that.
So you were suspended.
I was suspended before. So I knew it was going to be. So the pastor handled it maturely. It made me feel, I felt the pain more when he brought it openly. And another thing was that the people in the church were also some set of mature people. That's where I'm going to. The kind of minister you have, the head of your church will determine the kind of congregation that
That they
grows.
would breed.
Yes. So he brought it out. He had to bring it out, and he said it, and he kept mentioning we have to pray for him.
Mm.
He took advantage of the fact that I had a gift.
Mm.
He took advantage of the fact that I was an asset to the kingdom.
Mm.
So everybody took advantage of the fact the kingdom cannot afford to lose this guy.
Mm.
I had to meet my mother-in-law after I met my pastor.
Mm.
Yes, because I had to gather
Yeah,
strength.
that's like one of the.
No,
You
that
say
one
your
is
dad is the
I
big
know
fish.
it's a big fish. This one
The
is
bigger fish.
sorry to play football. It's just like
Oh
my
my
dad was a
goodness.
Premier League in that sense.
Mm.
My mother-in-law was the Champions League.
Mm.
So
So
then
how was the meeting with her husband?
the meeting with her, I had to travel to Lagos. I went straight to my father's house.
Mm.
I wanted to spoil the matter. I was on gin and round neck. My father was like, see this one. It was
You have to
jesting.
dress responsibly.
Gbénga, kí ló ń ṣe,
Who is this boy? Hey, now boy.
My God. He said, Gbénga,
Oh my goodness.
okay, don't worry. I know. He said, don't you have normal pants material? I said, Daddy, I came with gin. He said, okay.
And that was how you went?
He said, no, he went into his room to get me shirt.
Okay.
So we started changing shirts. I'm taller than him, but he's bigger than me. So we're changing shirts, but luckily he got a short sleeve, a brand new one. So that's okay, guy. There's nothing you put on shirts. You are not going with that polo.
So you went alone?
I went alone, no.
So
I wanted to go with
it?
a friend, Femi, that were together. But my mother-in-law told my wife to tell me that I should come alone. So that was a bigger trouble for me. At least if you get there and they want to beat you, there'll be somebody that will still be collecting some of the. Oh my God.
Goodness.
But being a believer should cut across every section of your life. Yes. My wife came from a believing home. So a lot had happened. So while I was dealing with my family, she was dealing with her family. But the confidence came. But by God's grace, through the help of the Holy Spirit, we went through the right steps. I needed the advice. I spoke to that man. He sent me back to my elder brother that I've spoken with before. Because my elder brother didn't know what to do. So it was just like, what do you think we should do? I said, don't worry, I'll get back to you. So we were going through the channel. So I was telling him today, okay, now I've spoken with Daddy. Myself and Daddy, we are now cool. He said, now you can see your pastor. And the church gave me a reception. The church never made me feel I was under suspension. I don't know how it happened, but me, then there was no longer shame. And my dear sister, there was no, my pastor, God has forgiven me, my family had forgiven me, my pastor had forgiven me. They were paying close attention. Not just my pastor, the pastorate. They were paying close attention. Like they discuss with me normally. They don't take me back to my follow. They discuss normal thing with me to make me, guy, you've gone beyond that stage. So I've traveled. I've traveled. So when I got to my mother-in-law's place, hey, I prostrated. Normally I'll give my dad half prostration. But when I got there, I prostrated. She said, Gbénga, yeah, sit. English in the so I'm in trouble. Like, you're welcome. You can have your seat. That English made it sound like, guy, you are just facing your trouble. So I had to stay over. She didn't talk to me in the afternoon. I stayed over. So later in the night, she took me to the compound.
They say, or I
tell you. She took me to the compound. So, Gbénga, what's this? I said, Mommy, it happened. It wasn't intentional. But I feel it became intentional when I realized that I had a feeling I could have avoided it. Although I was in a case that made that happen. But that wasn't an excuse. There were other things to survive with. And it was like, you can't tell me it was a mistake. You guys are grown-ups. You knew this, and it was fine. Then my mother-in-law said something. She said, is that why you want to marry my daughter? I said, Mommy, no. So, but when anybody listening to me, it's okay to be a baby father or a baby mama. It's okay. Because the sustainability is more important. It's more important. It will affect a lot. It will really affect a lot. But the sustainability is...
So now you've really been talking about everyone around you, how that probably God, in a way of God, let you know that I still love you.
Yes.
He put the right people around you, so they were
Mm-hmm.
able to still express their love to you,
Yes.
even though they made you know they were disappointed.
Mm-hmm.
But I want to believe that there were also people
Yes.
that gave you the wrong responses and reactions.
Oh yeah.
Those who judged, those who criticized,
Thanks for that
those who
question.
made you feel. So I want to believe that there are instances like that as well. So how were you able to deal with those set of people? Because unlike you, who had quite a number of people, especially the most
Yes.
necessary persons,
Mm-hmm.
support you through it, there are people that might be in that situation, or that, you know, that went through that situation and they didn't have enough support and love like you did.
Yes.
So what they had more was people around them really condemning what they've done, letting them know every day that what they've done is unforgivable
It's
and all of that. So
unforgivable,
for those set of people that you had
yeah.
around or far, whatever, how were you able to deal with
Oh
maybe
yeah.
comments, you know?
I caught my angles.
Hmm.
I started moving from people that I know will hurt me to people that I
Hmm.
know
That's
were
a
more of
valid point.
yes. I
Yeah.
had to,
Hmm.
like, even if I needed to meet them,
Hmm.
I was like, no, not that. Let me just stay with the few
Hmm.
that understood
Hmm.
my pain, that were carrying my pain with
Hmm.
me.
Hmm.
John, thank you very
Hmm.
much.
Hmm.
So I was staying very close to John.
Hmm.
I was staying very close to Tosin. I was staying very close to you.
In case you don't know, I was in the story. Oh.
Yes, because I remember that my wife said, "Tell Christy."
Hmm.
No, because she knew I needed backups.
Hmm. That's a very valid point. So, for those that were not giving you the kind of energy you needed,
Yes.
who were just constantly condemning you, what you did was you just cut
No, I
them
cut
off,
them off.
because your sanity at this point was important.
Very
It had
important.
happened,
Very.
so you just focused on those who loved you
Yeah.
and who cared about you. That's really beautiful. So now let's move on to your ministry. I want you to be really honest.
Yeah.
Did you ever have to cry because, you know, a lot of things stopped, as you said, you know, a lot of things stopped for you and all of that, and you know, so how did you deal with it in terms of your ministry, and how were you able to pull back such that you now, because the truth is it happens to many people and that's the end of whatever it is they were doing before, because somehow, even though they know they are forgiven, that confidence is no longer there. The devil steals it away completely, and they see themselves unworthy totally to even do anything called service to God anymore. So they just live their lives as normal persons. But not only have you bounced back in terms of ministry, you are now even the music director. And I'm sure you didn't even expect. You see, for me, I feel that was God really
I never
letting you
expected.
know that this is I've overlooked this and you have a
Yes.
ministry. So how were you able to deal with that, and how did you bounce back?
All right. Thank you for that. Before I answer that, so you know, when I met my mother-in-law, she just said, "Okay, it's fine. You guys be cool." You know, she gave encouragement. She knew it's no longer about the pregnancy. It's a life our child is going into. So that's finished the whole battle for me, and she's aware that I'm a music minister, because I remember when she got to know about me, she had to go through my social media platforms.
Beautiful.
Yeah, so she was like, this guy. Then talking about my ministry, my dear sister, that was my major source of income then. And at some point, I had to meet with ministers. I had ministrations that, hey, should be church it's more. The church is away. Can I just go for this one? And like, no, you can't go. I needed money. So then my predecessor was going to change his place of worship because he was relocating. But there was an existing assistant choir director who happened to be my friend to date. So when the church, during the service one day, I was sitting at the back as usual, and I had been reinstated, but I was not, then I had not resumed actively. You know, every measures I had to put in to come to place, I know. Yeah, so the pastorate was doing a restructuring and updating of the workforce. The next thing I heard, and our music director now is our brother Benga Oluwayomi. Hey, I sat there. like I was glued to the chair.
Mm.
I sat, I brought out my phone and sent a message to my wife. Like, but because then I was already married, I had to do the traditional thing. I sent a message to my wife that, babe, oh, I have been announced as a music director.
Mm. That's really beautiful. I mean, that's a beautiful story, and I think from everything you said, there have been a lot of things to take home.
Yeah.
For me, first off, you don't, because you have done something, now continue to cover it with something wrong again.
It will
And
destroy
I
you.
think as believers, especially, that's the advantage we have over non-believers. How that the cross is where we run to.
Yes.
Even when we fall, the cross is where we run to. And for me, you know, the cross symbolizes a lot of things. Apart from the fact that, of course, the Holy Spirit, you have to talk to your God. You run back to the church. The church is supposed to be a safe place.
Yes.
The church should be where people run to and they are covered.
Yes.
The church should be where people run to and they are shielded. The church should be where people run to and they are loved.
Yes.
Not where they run to and they are condemned and they are stripped naked and they are beaten and they are, you understand, still going through normal discipline and chastisement.
Yes.
So it's really beautiful. And support. I think another thing I would really take from all you said is being accountable.
Yes.
Because sin will obviously and always thrive in secrecy. So the moment it happened, you called a man of God that you know you understand, that you know that truly is a man of God.
Yes.
You called, you spoke to your families, you spoke to the church, you spoke to your in-laws, and all of that. So that's you being accountable and vulnerable. That okay, the worst has happened. What else would happen?
I took the responsibility. I confessed to the Lord. I confessed to a mature person that gave me the right step to take. I confessed to my pastor and all. But let me say, I was blessed to have everybody. And what if I told you that till date, I still have the circles of friends. I still have the circles of friends.
They didn't leave you.
They didn't leave me. Oh.
So the circle you are with is very important. Very important. Check your circle. You need a great support system.
Yes.
All right, so just to wrap it up. So how is the family now? How is the ministry now?
So we are fine. We're very well. I am fresher than then. I'm brighter than then.
And fatter. You're way slimmer.
You say so.
Yes.
Yes, because my wife, first she was the chosen one. Second, she was in it with me. And now she's still in it with me. I wouldn't have said it if she had not given the approval. Now we have two
beautiful children.
Yes, a boy and a girl.
And then your ministry.
Ministry is fine, Ministry is fine. I've written more songs. In the space of 6 years, I wrote more songs than previous years.
Thank you very much. But really, to wrap it up, so just look straight to the camera and address someone going through what you went through 6 years ago.
Okay.
In few minutes, in few seconds.
In few seconds. All right. The simple thing is this: if God has not condemned you, nobody can. God will not condemn his own children. He only chastises his children. That's the way God is. People will make you feel, people cannot be in space of God. That's just it. So you don't expect people to give you the encouragement that only God can give you. Just work on it. Think of your future. Think of the greater things you have ahead. It's just, the challenge is just a flash. The life after the challenge is bigger than what you see now. So just think about that and don't cut your life short because of things. No, come on. A lot of us have moved on. We are bigger, we are better. Come on. Everything, greater things happen after the whole thing. What about that? So I am 1 million better than the way I was then. And now I'm fine, we are cool and all. So God is your focus, not human being.
All right, thank you so much. It's a wrap on Let Us Talk today. Thank you so much for joining me have this personal conversation. I know that it must have been a lot for you to talk about this, but I'm grateful. And I know that it's going to really bless a lot of lives. And like I said, that's the essence of this conversation. It's not just so to hear gist or stories, but so that we can learn. And trust me, I'm sure that as people watch, those salient points will begin to jump out at people, and I'm sure that is going to bless lives. So thank you so much for coming. I pray that the Lord continues to keep you and your family, and your ministry continues to move forward. So thank you all for joining me on Let Us Talk today with CMJ. Till we meet again next time, stay blessed. Don't forget to subscribe if you haven't. If you have not subscribed to my channel, please do subscribe. Like this video, drop your comments, Share it to everyone around you. Thank you so much. Have a beautiful week. Bye.